again, just completely, just very, very impressed with the resilience of this football team because of, just some of the factors that you don't think of, and just, the things we talked about earlier with the rivalry and the streak. You think about the schedule that we've had, 2 brutal road trips back to back before this game, tough game at Colorado where we get, we're a mash unit. Late game, you get home at 5 a.m. You go the next week, late game at West Virginia, you get home at 3 a.m., and then you turn around and go right into rivalry week.
Thanks for listening to KC Sports Network, proudly presented by Emprise Bank. If you're thinking about starting a business or know someone who is, check out Emprise Bank's SBA loans. It's always good to know your options, and they can be your partner in possible.
Hello and welcome to another 3-Maw episode. I am your host, Cole Manbeck, joined as always by our guy, Curry Sexton, former Kansas State wide receiver and partner over at Wildcat NIL. Ran into Curry for a few minutes on Saturdays. He swung by the Holiday Distillery tailgate, which, if you did not have the chance to make it over, was one heck of a time. Hopefully, if you didn't make it over there, you were over at the Wildcat NIL tailgate, hanging out with the folks at Riverbank Brewing, Curry, and all the great folks over at Wildcat NIL and having a heck of a time. But we do have to give a shout out to our guys, Wyatt and Kyle over at Holiday Distillery, who were at the tailgate and put on one heck of a time. A ton of people came by, a ton of listeners to the show. I think we might have went through nearly 10 bottles of Ben Holiday Bottled and Bond Bourbon is, I think, what the tally was final by Wyatt, what he gave us. So, tremendous stuff. Feedback was great on the product. Reminder to go get checked out on their new top single barrel that is exclusively being sold at the Fridge in Manhattan. So if you are in town for another game day before the end of the season, or if you just live anywhere near Manhattan, go pick it up at the Fridge. The Ben Holiday Bottled and Bond Bourbon is a fan favorite, and appreciate getting the opportunity to meet so many of you guys on Saturday and having the opportunity to engage with you. Apologize if we didn't get to chat and you swung by, but hopefully everybody had a good time. We had a really good turnout. So appreciate Holiday Distillery. Know they're happy with the outcome of what transpired on Saturday, and I could have used some Ben Holiday Bottled and Bond Bourbon in that fourth quarter of the game to help get through it as we were inside Bill Snyder Family Stadium. So we're here to recap it. And Curry, I guess just take me through the emotions that you experienced maybe in those last few minutes of the game.
Man, that game, that ending was not for the faint of heart, and that's just, I guess, second year in a row where you're having to breathe pretty heavy, high stress into the last minute of that game, and so I didn't enjoy it, to be honest with you. I mean, there were multiple times where I thought, okay, this is over, and somehow we found a way to dig deep and come out with a victory, and so credit to the team for being resilient. And for staying in it the whole time, despite some of the ups and downs. But man, it was a stressful fourth quarter. It was a stressful game altogether. And credit to KU for playing a heck of a football game and really putting us on our heels throughout a lot of that game.
Who do you think has more pressure on their shoulders in this matchup as this streak continues on? Like, do you think the K-State guys kind of carry the weight of the burden in a situation like that when it's tight?
I think so. I mean, obviously KU's got, pressure that we've dealt with maybe on the basketball side before of overcoming a streak. But I think continuing a streak like that comes with a ton of pressure. I mean, talking to the coaches, Gene Taylor, some of the players, I feel it myself. There's a level of stress and anxiety that a game like that induces that I don't think it would if it didn't have that streak, lying above it. Sure. It's a rivalry game. There are in-state rival, recruiting implications are everywhere. There's a lot that rides on that game even without a streak, but I think the streak takes it to a whole new level, and I think everybody feels that pretty significantly. So yeah, I'm pretty sure there's a big burden that's placed on the coaches, and maybe a little bit less so, but on the players as well.
Well, not only that, but K-State was so much to play for. The stakes are so much higher this year, with K-State being 7-1 now and 4-1 in Big 12 play, and a loss to KU would have significantly harmed their chances of their final goal of getting to the Big 12 championship and hopefully the college football playoff. So it would have been double the pain if Kansas State didn't find a way to come out on top. I mean, I felt the burden as a fan, like just being there. Like, I did not want to watch it in person. Mm-hmm. And it was a gut-wrenching game. Didn't like when Willie Ancio fell down on that touchdown catch, that would have been a touchdown catch and K-State had to settle for a field goal, I was like, this is not going to be our night at that point. Like, that's when it really hit me, and didn't think K-State would come through. So
yeah, I mean, there were, the fourth quarter was so excruciating. I mean, just in terms of, just you look at the sequence, and so we go down and we miss that touchdown pass, and then we kick a field goal to bring it to 3. And then you force a 3 and out, you're down 1, you're thinking, okay, here we go. This is our chance. And then we go 3 and out. And then you get KU 5 plays, punt, and you're thinking, okay, here's a chance again. And then of course we go for it on 4th down, you don't get it. Then you're thinking, okay, this game, I mean, I think I texted you and said ball game. And then we somehow get that fumble on the scramble by Jalen Daniels. And then even then we, great field position. Couple minutes left in the game, you're thinking we're going to go score a touchdown, maybe get 2 and put this game on ice, and we end up relying on a 51-yard field goal attempt by Chris Tennant. So just a brutal sequence of events in that fourth quarter after KU took the early fourth quarter lead. But again, just shout out to the team for being incredibly resilient and finding a way to come back and dig deep and get a victory.
Yeah, one of the things that was really frustrating as that game went on is that when the defense would come up with the stop and the offense had an opportunity, the offense wouldn't come through. And when the offense would get K-State up multiple scores, like 16-7, 23-14, KU went right down and scored a touchdown. Like, it just felt like you were one drive away or one stop away all game where you would have felt pretty comfortable. If K-State, when they're up 16-7, gets a stop and gets it out to 16-point lead, or if, when they get up 23-14, you get a stop on that first drive of the second half, and you get it to 30-14 eventually, you feel pretty good. But KU both times answered and went right back down the field. And I think one of the things that sucked the air out of the stadium, especially the first 3 quarters, is just K-State couldn't get off the field on 3rd and down. I mean, KU was 7 of 8, and a lot of them were 3rd and longs, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8, and just debilitating that, like, they would just run the football, which Jeff Grimes is notorious for. Like, he did that at Baylor. Like, they would run it with the mindset that they were going to go for it on 4th down a lot of times, and I think they got K-State a little off guard.
Yeah, you're right. Just completely debilitating. And we talked about this last week. I repeated this over and over again to basically anybody I talked to. I said, you can't let KU get off to a good start. You let them get off to a good start. The momentum, the confidence that they have from the Houston game now continues to build. And now they start thinking, okay, we're going to win this football game. And then the crowd gets out of it a little bit, which I think we saw throughout different portions of that football game. And so we let them get it. We let them drive right down the field, convert multiple 3rd, medium, 3rd and longs, and then score, I believe, a 38-yard touchdown to their 3rd or 4th string running back. And then, we don't have success early. We punt and they go down and hey, another great chance to score. Jalen Daniels throws a dime on a deep post to Quentin Skinner. They hits him right in the arms and he drops it. Otherwise, they go up 14-0. I do think that, you're right. Then K-State finds a way to crawl back from down 7-0 to up 16-7 with some help from KU and Jameel Croft, and his decision to catch that kick on the 1-yard line. And then I think you're thinking, okay, here we go. We're going to put some separation between the two of us now. And KU comes right back, scores to get it within 2, and actually had a chance to take a lead going into the half before Jalen Daniels threw that pick to Marquis Siegel. Then you come out of half, you go down and score, you rebuild the lead to 9 points, 2-score football game. KU comes right back again and eventually takes a lead in the early part of the fourth quarter. So KU they took every shot to the chin that we gave them and came back as strong as possible and put us on the ropes multiple times. And so that was a good football team. I think they played a good football game. Obviously they had some key mistakes, as did we. But again, just completely, just very, very impressed with the resilience of this football team because of, just some of the factors that you don't think of, and just, the things we talked about earlier with the rivalry and the streak. You think about the schedule that we've had, 2 brutal road trips back to back before this game. Tough game at Colorado where we get, we're a mash unit. Late game, you get home at 5 a.m. You go the next week, late game at West Virginia, you get home at 3 a.m. And then you turn around and go right into rivalry week. Your head football coach is dealing with some health issues on the sideline and even left the game at one point during the third quarter, latter part of the third quarter. So there are just a lot of things that were not working in our favor. And that team found a way again to dig deep and get a win. And that can be overstated.
Well, when we talk about the resiliency, consider what you and I talked about after the Colorado game. under Chris Kleiman, K-State had been 0-21 when trailing at any point in 5 minutes or left in a game. And then at Colorado, they're trailing with about 3.5 minutes left, and they come up with that big drive to win the game, to get the first win in the Kleiman era when they're trailing at any point under 5 minutes. And then once again, with so much burden on their shoulders, the weight on their shoulders, trailing, you can just feel the nervous energy in the stadium from the fans in those final few minutes. You're trailing with under 5 minutes left. Heck, you're trailing with under 2 minutes left. And this time it wasn't so much of, coming up with the big drive. K-State got 1 first down to get in field goal range. It was actually all-encompassing, all-around effort, really defense, special teams coming up with the play. Just a different answer this time, to where now they were 0-21 coming into the season in these situations, and they're 2-0 in 2024. They're making plays.
The month of October.
Yeah, in October, which is not good for our stress levels, Curry, to have to go through this. But it does speak volumes about the character of this team, that different aspects of them have been able to step up and rise to the occasion. And to me, we're going to talk about Chris Tennant and how big that kick was. But for me, the top storyline of the week, and we'll make this brought to you by our friends over at Elanco, premier home improvement company based out of Kansas City, owned by tremendous K-Staters. But we talked about it. This KU offense, Curry, was dicing K-State's defense up for much of that game. In fact, in the first 3 quarters, KU had scored 27 points on 8 of their drives. That's an average of 3.4 points per drive. That's not a good number for K-State's defense. And in that time, KU was averaging 7.5 yards per offensive play. Again, not a good number. Well, in the start of the second half, KU on their first 3 drives scored 14 points, had 147 yards on 16 plays, an average of 9.2 yards per play. In the final 4 drives of the game for KU, and they all occurred in the fourth quarter, KU goes scoreless, punt, fumble, turnover on downs. They have 30 yards of offense on 4 drives on 17 plays total combined, an average of 1.77 yards per play, an astonishing number. The K-State defense made plays when it mattered most, and we're going to talk about this play in the All-22 film breakdown that we do, as always, that you guys will see and be able to watch or listen to as we talk through it on YouTube or on our audio channels. We'll break down the final play of the game. But the defense really stepped up in the fourth quarter. And to me, Curry, the decision by Joe Klanderman down the stretch to bring a ton of pressure at Jalen Daniels proved to be the difference, especially on that last drive when they just brought the heat time and time again, bringing safety blitzes with BJ Payne and bringing the linebackers, and they were getting through. Just what did you think of that strategy and the approach that Klanderman took just to bring the heat and to blitz the heck out of Jalen Daniels?
Yeah, gutsy. I mean, super gutsy by him in a game where we were getting pressure on Daniels for the most part, and he was comfortable and confident. He's a guy that we've seen in the early part of this year. I guess now their first 8 games, who has a tendency to turn the football over, and when teams speed him up, and he gets uncomfortable, that's when he's most susceptible to turning the ball over. And through really 3 full quarters, we did not put pressure on him. And Jalen Daniels played a really good football game, minus the Marquise Siegel pick late in the first half, which really didn't hurt him. And so I think it was a gutsy move, and it was the right move. And that's a good receiver core that we're putting a lot of pressure on our DBs to play man defense against a good receiver unit. And make sure that they're getting, they're not allowing separation and allowing the blitzes to get home. And so super gutsy move. Shout out to Jeff Grimes too, for not using Devin Neal basically in the fourth quarter. This guy is averaging 5 yards a pop. Seemed like 4 or 5 yards every carry, no matter what. And I think he had 3 carries on their last 3 touches on their last 4 drives. 4 drives, those 4 drives that you just mentioned. And so shout out to Jeff Grimes for not using his soon to be program leading, or if he's not already, I believe he will be soon, program leading rusher. And so, but again, really impressed by Klanderman making those changes late. I know we like to blitz, but I don't know how many times this year we blitzed BJ Payne, and it seemed like he was coming on every other play late in that game and was getting home, and that really changed the outcome of that football game. And so, great adjustment by Coach Klanderman on the fly late in that game.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen BJ Payne blitz hardly at all this year. And on that final drive, just on the rewatch I did last night, I think he blitzed 3 different times, and he timed them perfectly. I mean, he was flying. I mean, K-State timed the blitzes beautifully every single time. I mean, they disguised it pretty well, and then they came up. I mean, if KU would have went hard count, there's a chance K-State might jump there, but they had the sequencing figured out timed those blitzes perfectly. The offensive line had no chance. They were attacking the right side, or I guess the left side, facing this way of that offensive line with the blitzes as well. And to your point on Devin Neal, I think everybody kind of presumed that Devin Neal would set the school rushing record in Manhattan. He only needed 74 yards to do it going into the game, and he finishes with 66 yards, which is a season low for Devin Neal, but he only got 13 carries, to your point, Curry. He still averaged over 5 yards a carry. That's kind of been the story of Devin Neal's career against Kansas State, where it feels like he's underutilized. He's been under 70 yards, Curry, in 3 of the 4 games against K-State in his career, but it's largely because he's had 16 carries or less in 3 of the 4. And last year, when he had 138 against K-State, he only got 18 touches. And so thank you to Kansas for not giving the ball to Devin Neal at any point. And even they could have given the ball to him on that final drive with 2 timeouts and a minute 42.
100%.
You only need a field goal.
So, yeah, I mean, it's crazy to me, especially in a game where you don't have Daniel Highshaw. You don't have that guy who takes a little bit of a load off of everybody else, and it's kind of the thunder to Devin's lightning a little bit. So that was huge for us. I mean, that would have, with the blitzes that we were bringing, little running back screens, different ways to utilize him, even those quick tosses. They were having a lot of success on those quick tosses in the second half last night, and so Jeff Grimes did us a big solid by not using Devin Neal down the stretch.
Yeah, one thing I will say about the KU rushing attack, like they're an explosive rushing attack, and they also were top 15 in the country in yards of 10 plus yards or more different plays on the season. And aside from that 38-yard run by Savion Morrison on that first drive of the game on the 3rd and 7 that they converted, they have an 11-yard run, a 15-yard run, and a 24-yard run. But that was it as far as explosive rushing plays. So K-State at least bottled them up when it comes to the explosives. K-State actually offensively, Curry had 13 plays that would classify as explosives in this game on the offensive end for them compared to what would be 5 or 6 for KU, actually. I think that was one of the biggest stories of the game, is that K-State had 8 rushes of 10 yards or more in the game, and they had 5 passes of 20 yards or more offensively. If you look at those 13 plays for K-State, those combined for 313 yards of offense on those 13 out of their 72 plays that they had in the game. That's 24 yards a play. The other 56 plays K-State had went for 169 yards, 3 yards a play. Wow. So explosives was really the key to this game, that K-State was able to hit them with that 54-yard run by Giddens, the 44-yard run by Dylan Edwards, some of the big plays in the passing game as well. Now, to be candid with everybody, like the passing stats are influenced a little bit by a 42-yard pass to Jace on the offensive pass interference that KU just declined the penalty because it went to half, and that counted then as a statistic on what proved to be a kind of a meaningless play there. But explosives were a huge part of that game.
Absolutely. I mean, it was good to see. Obviously the DJ run was huge early in the second half. Dylan's run in the third quarter was huge. And then, I think we saw Keegan Johnson make a big play, catching the ball in the flat and making a move and going and getting 34. And then Will Ancio, his 25-yard touchdown pass. So, some good explosive plays by the team. And I think just, you want to see more. I think at the end of the day, I think you feel like, I think a lot of us left the stadium that night thinking, could have seen a little bit more explosiveness from this offense if we'd have given Dylan Edwards more than 5 touches. So I think just on the flip side of, kind of throwing some shade at Jeff Grimes for his usage of Devin Neal down the stretch, I think, as we've said, we're kind of becoming a broken record on this, but sure would like to see us use Dylan Edwards a little bit more. Not a little bit more, a lot bit more. He is as explosive as there is. I mean, you're seeing that he's affecting the game in 3 phases, running, catching, and then in the return game, had a solid return after the safety. That's a kid that he can't have 6, including the kick return. He can't have 6 touches in a football game. He has to be impacting the game more, especially as he was getting on the edges and putting pressure on KU's defense. Got to use him more.
Is 16 yards per offensive touch good, Curry? Is that not saying,
Yeah. That you'd have to look up mine from my career. I'm sure it's a lot lower than that. When I left the game, I'm like, in the whole fourth quarter, I was actually watching the game the second half on the sideline, and I was standing there next to some of the recruiting staffers, and we just kept saying, "Where's Dylan? Where's Dylan?" He had I think he caught he caught a swing pass or a bubble on the early in the fourth quarter, and he jetted down the sideline for 10, 12 yards. Scooted past the defender to get up the sideline, and it's that was kind of the last we saw of him. Those last 3-4 drives, you're just thinking, where's Dylan? Let's get his speed, let's get his playmaking ability in here, and he just wasn't out there. And so I think, again, I know we've got DJ. DJ is our he's our horse. But we have to find ways to utilize both of them on the football field. We have to find ways to get Dylan Edwards the ball. He is probably our second most explosive weapon, second best weapon.
Especially when Keegan Johnson's banged up, went down multiple times, and you're banged up at wide receiver there, and he's a guy that you need to get on the field. And for him to only have 16 snaps out of 69 true offensive plays with the 3 kneel downs excluded, that's not enough. You got to have him on the field more than 20% of the time, and you got to get him more touches as well. So, and I think one of the things that you watched with that KU defense, Curry, is they were bottling up the K-State running attack. They were on the inside, but on the edges is where K-State was able to attack them. The Dylan Edwards 44-yard run was kind of a sweep off tackle. DJ Giddens' 54-yard run was a sweep off tackle.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everything was on the edges, and if you watch KU's defense, I've talked to Nick about this as well. They're not very fast or athletic at linebacker. And so K-State was kind of running into the strength of the defense right up the middle when, I felt like they should have been using Dylan Edwards more like this was the game to get him out on the edge, and get this guys. And instead there was one play that really frustrated me. I'm nitpicking here. Like the K-State offense has been statistically very good, and Connor Riley's done a really nice job, but there was a 2nd and 9 inside the KU 15-yard line when K-State was down 27-23. And Dylan and DJ were on the field together, but they had them both out in the slot on each side. And they ran the jet sweep kind of toss play to DJ to get him to the edge. And Dylan was a blocker on that side. And I didn't understand that. Dylan shouldn't be one of the lead blockers. DJ should be the lead blocker. It should go the other way. But that was a frustrating point for me.
No, I thought the same thing. I remember thinking pre-snap that we were going to see a Dylan jet sweep to the, that would have been to the boundary, but they had run that once before and had some success on it. So I remember thinking that was that's the look we were going to get. So I'm guessing they were trying to give the defense a different look, but you're right. Probably roles probably needed to be reversed there. Dylan's not the type of guy you want to, he didn't have the size or the strength probably to be your lead blocker. So I'm with you. None of this is criticism, toward, we don't intend for this to be criticism toward Connor Riley, because I think he's done a hell of a job, but I do think it's fair, and I think he and the coaching staff probably agrees with us today. We've got to find ways to use Dylan Edwards more, because he has an ability to change football games unlike unlike most anybody on our roster.
Yeah, and look, you only got 6 points on the final 6 drives offensively in that game, which is not good enough. The KU defense is not a huge strength. They're improved, but you got to do better offensively to capitalize. And I know the drop, what would have been a touchdown if Willie Ancio doesn't fall down, and Avery's play was kind of a fluke, so where he fumbled the football. So that cost you potentially 11 points. So I get it. The offense did some nice things as well and averaged 7 yards per play, taking away the kneel downs at the end of the game. So just need to get Dylan Edwards more involved, especially in games like that. Completely agree. And I think maybe, I don't want to put words in the mouth of Alenko, but I think our guys over at Alenko would probably agree as well. I'm sure they felt a sense of relief when K-State ended up coming out on top in this one. And just a reminder, folks, in an industry where many home improvement companies have been bought out by national corporations, Alenko's remained locally owned since they started in 1986. If you're thinking about new windows on your home, doing a bathroom remodel, Alenko specializes in premium window replacements as well as Kohler Luxstone shower systems. Need new siding, need new doors. They've got you covered with all the top quality service and top quality products over at Alenko. You don't need to live in the KC area either. They're based out of KC, but they will come to you. If you're in Western Missouri, Northeast Kansas, live in Manhattan, Emporia, Topeka, Wichita, a small town in a rural area in Northeast Kansas, Alenko will come your way, take care of your home improvement needs. Go to alencohome.com. That's ALENCO home.com and check out all the services they offer. You can also give Sam, a great K-Stater, a call at 913-961-2165. Also want to tell you all about our friends over at Home Field Apparel before we throw to a break. And when we come back from break, we're gonna probably do some all 22 here for about 20 minutes and give you guys a little film breakdown with Curry, as well as one of your favorite segments comes back again. But want to tell you about Home Field Apparel. I actually saw Coach Tang rocking one of the new Home Field Apparel campus pullover jackets, purple pullover jacket, kind of a throwback look that just dropped on homefieldapparel.com for Kansas State a couple of weeks ago. So go on over to homefieldapparel.com. Coach Tang's rocking the jacket. You should be rocking it as well. He had it on the sideline. I know John went up and saw it as well when he went up and talked to Coach Tang pregame down on the sideline. So it's cool enough for Coach Tang. It's cool enough for you. I'm going to probably get my hands on one of those campus pullover jackets as well. They continue to add to their K-State collection on their website over at homefieldapparel.com. More than 50 items to choose from, now approaching probably 60 K-State items between hats, hoodies, sleek retro designs, T-shirts. They've got you covered with everything. I'm rocking a Home Field Apparel hoodie right now for K-State, and I got a Big 8 Champs Basketball 1977 shirt. That's one of my favorite soft T-shirts that I own. That is also Home Field Apparel. So go get stocked up. Enter discount code 3MAW24 when you go to checkout, and you will get 15% off your entire order. Again, that's discount code 3MAW24. Enter it at checkout, 15% off your entire order.
Looking for tickets for your next event? Tickets for Less is your number one source. Save big on every purchase when you use promo code KCSN at ticketsforless.com. You know when you discover a new binge-worthy show or a song that you play on repeat and you just have to share it with your friends so they can experience just how awesome it is too? Well, that's how we felt when we discovered that Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for just $15 a month when you purchase a 3-month plan. It's such an awesome deal, there's no way we could keep it to ourselves. Friends don't let friends overpay for wireless. Say bye-bye to your overpriced wireless plan and switch to Mint Mobile. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text, delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. You can use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and keep your own phone number and bring along all your friends. Ditch overpriced wireless with Mint Mobile's deal and get 3 months of premium wireless service for just $15 a month. To get this new customer offer and your new 3-month premium wireless plan for just $15 a month, go to mintmobile.com/3MAW. That's mintmobile.com/3MAW. Cut your wireless bill to just $15 a month at mintmobile.com/3MAW. $45 upfront payment required, equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for details.
Just a couple numbers here before we jump into the All-22. Curry, I tweeted this out last night. I was going through the history of the 16-game winning streak now against KU, and K-State has never lost the turnover battle against Kansas during the 16-game winning streak. Now, there's been a couple times when it's been neutral and neither team's won the turnover margin, but K-State wins it 2-1 in this game. And since 2009, when the streak began, K-State has forced 40 turnovers to KU only forcing 10. Wow. So K-State's plus 30 in turnover margin. And the reason I bring this up is because in close games like this, it's been the little things against KU over the last 3 years where K-State has been able to get the job done. And you think about the last 3 games against KU, right? You have the muffed punt in 2022 at the start of the game where K-State had to go. We went 3 and out on the first drive. K-State gets a touchdown off the muffed punt that set them up at the 5-yard line, score on the very next play. And then when K-State scores to make it 14-7 in that game on the ensuing kickoff, KU returned it just to the 9-yard line, got flagged for a block in the back, so they start their drive at their own 5-yard line. They get called for a holding in the end zone, eventually for a safety, to make the score 16-7, which we had a 16-7 score again in this one in Manhattan. Last year, obviously, the muff punt, K-State goes down, scores a touchdown. You had a blocked extra point, and that was returned for 2 by K-State. That's a 3-point swing. And then this year, you have a missed extra point, and you have a KU returner catching the ball at the 1-yard line and setting K-State up to get a safety. I mean, that's essentially special teams setting up a 22-point swing in 3 games in the last 3 years. And you're talking about 2 of those games being decided by a combined 6 points. It's the little things in the margins that have been a big swing for Kansas State. And that safety cannot be emphasized enough, obviously, how big that was as K-State ends up winning the game by 2 points. All right, Nick, I think we are ready for the All-22 when you are. All right, so this play right here, Curry, this is the first touchdown to tie the game up at 7-7 to Will Ancio. It's a 24-yard little crossing route where Ancio gets into the end zone. I think it's Cornell Wheeler that is on him. I don't know, Nick, if we could roll that one more time here. So the interesting thing about this play, Curry, is Ancio stays into block, so it's almost a delayed route. And then you can see he beats Wheeler there and gets about 2 steps on him, and he just glides into the end zone from there, sheds a little bit of a tackle. But what do you like about this play, and how do you kind of break it down?
Yeah, I mean, I like a lot of things. So I think first off, you see Jace Brown go in motion again. We know this is a coverage I typically allows you to identify coverage, but I think in this instance they didn't send anybody with Jace, but still ended up in a man coverage. They just passed it off. And so I think you have a couple guys to the play side do a really, really nice job. Well, I guess let me shout out 3 guys. Will Swanson to the top of the screen does a really nice job of drawing two guys with his flag route. He's got the guy who's man on him, and then he takes the high safety for just a second. Dante Cephas, really good job running the clear post route, and DJ Giddens, really, really nice job running that wheel route up the boundary and just taking the eyes of that defender all the way to the back of the end zone. I mean, I think that's what allows Will to score here is that guy's still guarding DJ. That guard, whoever the corner is, I think it might be whoever's guarding DJ Giddens, I think is out of bounds by the time that Willie Ncio is running into the end zone. I guess that's JB Brown. Thanks, Nick. And so really good execution by everybody who is not directly involved in this play. And then I think you see K-State's bringing 5 guys. They bring a pressure. Avery does a really, really nice job after he gets to his drop of stepping up into the pocket and evading that outside rusher. And then Willie Ncio, I think, does a really, really nice job of selling this play fake, selling this, the fact that he's blocking and then having to leak out into the flat. And try to fake out one of these linebackers. And I think initially, you can see that Cornell Wheeler's chasing and trying to figure out, okay, who am I picking up here? And he runs to Will Ncio, and then Will Ncio slips over the top and beats him to the flat and ultimately beats him to the end zone. So really, really good execution here by everybody involved. Offensive line did a good job of pass pro here. They did allow the free rusher, but Avery evaded that. So impressive execution, impressive play design all the way around.
Yeah, I like a lot of things about that play. First of all, it half reminds me, it's not a true screen play, but it half reminds me of those like throwback tight end screens that K-State would run back in the day where you see like the tight end like cut block, get on the ground, hop up, you roll. Yeah. I mean, Avery rolls to his left a little bit to sell it and then rolls back on the run and hits.
It's kind of what it felt like, right? It kind of felt like a tight end throwback. It wasn't maybe in its purest form, but yeah, I think that's essentially what it was a little bit of a tight end throwback. And then of course with Avery stepping up into the pocket to evade that outside rusher, it looked more like, it didn't look so much like a throwback, but I think the intention was for Avery to be on, the far hash and throw that ball back across the field to hopefully an open tight end. So good improvisation there by Avery.
Yeah, no, I think about plays like Texas 2002 in Manhattan. They did one of those to, I think it was Thomas Hill, where they rolled Roberson out, threw it back across, and then that happened in the Fiesta Bowl in '97, I think, to Justin Swift, where Bishop rolled back, threw it across. Very creative play design there, and well executed by all the players on K-State and clearing out that side of the field. All right, we are ready for the next play. This is a really nice ball by Avery. Hits Jace Brown over the middle for a 25-yard catch. Now, Curry, the one thing that I look at when I watch this play is I think Jace just scores if he keeps running. Yeah, and I think it's a touchdown. He stops a little bit. I don't know if he thought somebody was coming across the middle there to get him, but if he keeps going, this is a 30-yard touchdown pass. Instead, he stopped just inside the 5, but still a very well-executed play, clear out right over the middle of the field, and well-executed, good ball, good catch by Jace.
Yeah, I thought this was. I thought the same thing. I was actually watching the game from in the Shamrock Zone area, South End Zone, and thought the same thing. I thought, oh man, he could have scored there. But I think as a receiver, especially when you're running over the middle, it's hard to feel where that DB is at. And so he's clearly bracing for a stiff arm before he realizes that he's still got some separation. So I bet he was kicking himself after he saw this on film. So this is a pretty simple look. This is a straight cover 4 look from KU. You tell by the safeties and their wide alignment, in the corner, soft coverage facing in toward the QB. And this is basically a simple smash concept. You've got outside receivers running hitch routes. Inside number 2 to the top, tight end runs a little bit of a shallow dig. And then you've got corner up at the top by Jaden Jackson. He does a good job of drawing the eyes to the boundary or the field safety. And then you've got, I'm guessing Jace Brown kind of had, I don't know if there's a pre-snap call for him to run a post or if this is an option for him. I'm guessing based on his alignment, this is probably a pre-snap call, but Jace does a good job of pushing forward and then breaking to the post right after he clears that linebacker. He does a good job of getting separation. Good job by Avery of anticipating this throw, making a throw on time and on the money. I'll say one thing that I think Jace could do a little bit better. We talked about this last week. I believe we talked about it was either last week or against Colorado. But one thing he could do a little bit better is to push a couple yards more vertically. Obviously, he gets good separation here because that safety is playing so soft. But if he pushes that, just knowing how that safety's playing, if he pushes that a couple yards more vertically, that safety is going to keep backpedaling because he fears Jace's speed. And then Jace is running wide open as he's catching a pass, strolling into the end zone. So I think could push your depth a little bit more there from Jace and create more separation. But it's a good route, it's a great throw, good play design, good execution.
Yeah, and I like how steady and calm Avery is in the pocket. It's a clean pocket, but he just sets his feet and delivers a strike. I thought he did that multiple times, especially early in the game. I thought he was on the money in this game, especially the first half. He had 185 yards through the air in the first 2 quarters of this one. All right, the next one is going to be a Garrett Oakley pop pass touchdown here. K-State's on the 1. I think it's actually on the next play or play later after that Jace play. I think it's the 2nd down and goal play where they hit Oakley for what is the 10th touchdown pass to a tight end for Kansas State on the season, which leads all of college football for tight end touchdown catches, by the way. And Garrett Oakley finishes this play, but just make it look pretty easy here, Curry. How do you dissect this one?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. They make it look easy. And I think, one thing that I liked about this play design was it didn't appear to be your typical QB power type pop pass. Jump pass that you typically see. They're giving this speed option type look, which holds that outside corner, and prevents him from running with Garrett. So I love the play design, and then ultimately an excellent job by Garrett of acting like he's blocking down on that linebacker on the line of scrimmage, swimming the safety, and getting open for an easy touchdown. And great job by Avery of selling speed option for a step or two. DJ doing the same. And then standing up tall and finding his guy. So great play design, and again, really good execution.
I hadn't even noticed it until you just called it out that K-State is selling a speed option here. Which have they even ran a speed option?
I don't think they have, but it does. Again, the guy who could come in and break that pass up, if not pick it, is that outside corner if he's not held. And so using DJ to hold that outside corner was just excellent play design. And I think, Garrett Oakley deserves a lot of credit for how he bluffed that pop pass there.
Yeah, it's the 3rd or 4th time K-State's ran one of these in the end zone, different sets, obviously. Yeah. But I don't know how you stop it with this. With the way K-State runs the football with DJ Giddens and how good they are from running the ball, and you got Dylan, and then you got these tight ends. Like you can do something. Yeah,
pick your poison. Yeah, you're right. It's nearly impossible to stop because in that short yardage, goal to go situation, they're thinking stop DJ Giddens, stop Avery Johnson, and then you get a jump pass. So great use of that by our coaches. I think they're using it enough, but not too much.
I wouldn't mind seeing one though, where it could turn into an explosive as well out maybe toward midfield on like a 3rd and 1 out of a look where, remember when they did it to Gronkowski all the time back in the day and would hit him for some of those big ones. Maybe something that they'll do at some point away from the inside the 5-yard line down the road. So, okay. Next one here, this is the first drive of the second half. This is a running play, actually. I know we don't typically show a ton of these, but it was a big play in the game. DJ Giddens gets untouched for a 54-yard run where we talked about getting him out on the boundary. Also love that he set his foot on the sideline there around the 25, picked up an extra 10 yards. Like you can see the KU, I think it was Cornell Wheeler, you can see the linebacker just assume he's going out of bounds. He starts to slow up right around the 25. And then DJ cuts it in and picks up an extra 8-9 yards there, gets it down to the 15. K-State scores on 4 plays, 75 yards to take a 23-14 lead after this as Avery gets it in the end zone eventually. But kind of run us through this long, explosive running play, which is the longest rushing play of the night, Curry.
Yeah, this excellent execution here by all the guys out blocking. I think in another great play call. So just a typical, kind of a stretch play here. And you've got, there's a number of guys, you're going to have to run this on loop for a bit because there's a number of guys to call out. Your bottom 2 receivers, your 2 guys at the bottom of the screen, I think Keegan and Dylan Edwards, Keegan and Jaden Jackson are quickly understanding that their guys are locked on them in man coverage. And so they just run clears. Jace Brown does a really, really nice job of scooping Cornell Wheeler here. I believe that's Cornell Wheeler, number 44. So yeah, Jace does an excellent job maybe that's JV Brown, but Jace does an excellent job of scooping him and just getting in his way, which allows DJ to avoid. I mean, that's a guy who would otherwise probably make this play, but does a good job of getting his hands on him and taking him out of the play. Taylor Portier and Sam Heck do a great job of getting up to the second level here and occupying defensive players to help break this play loose. You see Sam Heck pulls on this play and goes and chips a safety about 15 yards down the field, takes him out of the football play. Taylor Portier gets right to a linebacker, goes straight up to the second level and locks on to their middle linebacker there, shoves him out of the play. Excellent job there. And then I think, you see Carver Willis. I think this thing is going somewhat viral on Twitter right now, but his effort, I know he doesn't, really touch anybody down the field, but, he gets a good kick block on the line of scrimmage. He understands that his guy's really probably not coming back into that play. And then he just takes off sprinting as fast as he can down the field looking for action. And so excellent job by him of just showing good effort, just trying to help a guy out way down the football field. And then I think the last guy is Garrett Oakley. Does a really nice job of getting up and getting his hands on one of their defensive backs. You see Garrett's lined up tight to the top side, and goes out, gets on their corner and keeps an arm on him all the way down the field for about 25 yards. And that guy does mellow. I think it does end up being involved to the tackle, but Garrett does a great job of helping burst this 54-yard run. So excellent job all the way around. I think you see the athleticism of our offensive line, and just an excellent play call, excellent execution by the entire unit.
Yeah, great job by Portier and Heck getting out in space and clearing out that side of the field, which enabled the cutback opportunity to tack on another 35 yards by DJ Giddens there. Well executed on the ground. All right, we are ready for the next one, Nick. Okay, we got another explosive run right here, Curry, and it's our guy Dylan Edwards who gets a 44-yard rush. Unfortunately, the very next play is the fumble by Kansas State, but you can see they just get Dylan running kind of around off tackle here. He's untouched again. Well executed, good vision by Dylan, but also well blocked once again. You see Sam Heck pull around him to center position and make a huge block that really springs him.
Yeah, absolutely. Just great execution. Get a little bit of a read play here, and the read just does enough to hold that defensive lineman who they're reading. I think number 97 there. You can see him just stutter and hesitate, and that's what allows Dylan to find that hole, to find that crease, and go get himself 44. Excellent job by Sam Heck pulling and kicking out that linebacker who's right there on the hole to make the play otherwise. And then I think Taylor Portier does a nice job at the point of attack, getting good leverage on his guy and doing just enough to keep him out of the way. Same can be said for Hadley Panzer on the backside at left guard. And then I think Carver Willis does a good job of kicking his guy out as well, scooping him a little bit and kicking him out. And great job by Dylan Edwards of finding the hole here, because it didn't really develop until late, finding the crease and turning on the Jets and making a big play. I think, everybody fully expected him to find the end zone here once he got in the loose. But unfortunately, I think that safety had good leverage on him. I really fully expected him when he gets to about the 50-yard line. I fully expected him to cut back and run to the backside of the field. But great play here. And another guy I think that I missed on the first round was Will Swanson. Will Swanson gets up to the second level and does a good enough job getting on that linebacker, that flat defender, to keep him out of the football play. And then you got receivers blocking downfield. They're not doing a ton, but they are getting in the way. And so you love to see your guys 30, 40 yards down the field getting their hands on defensive backs and keeping them out of the play. So excellent job, excellent execution. It's again, another example of seeing these offensive linemen pulling and creating space for our running backs.
Yeah, really nice job there by Panzer, getting his hands on this guy, giving him a shove, clearing, I think it was JB Brown out of the play, and then Taylor Portier maintains his block really effectively, and Sam Heck pulling around to really spring that play. So another big run in this one. All right, Nick, ready for the sixth of our seventh here. This is actually the another Dylan Edwards play, Curry, that you mentioned. This one goes for 19 yards. I mean, This just shows the explosiveness there of Dylan, is they've got him and DJ on the field at once. They're running DJ on a wheel route down the boundary. They have Dylan following him as DJ kind of clears out, and you can see that Dylan just outruns the defender. It's a linebacker in space, and it shows how good Dylan can be and how explosive he is.
Absolutely. And another really great play design here. Again, we talk about wanting to see more of Dylan and DJ, and here's a good example of what kind of pressure that puts on a defense. I think you're getting some sort of, I can't tell if this is a single man or if this is a cover 3 look. Sometimes KU gives a little bit of a funny look. I believe this is man to man, just based on a couple of things, including the guy running with DJ down the sideline. But, we've talked about this. We've done a heck of a job on the wheel route this season. And you can tell that the defense is placing an emphasis on that. The guy gets out and runs with DJ really well. And fully expected initially. I thought, okay, that's where Avery's going. And then you see Dylan leak out of the backfield after the play fake and catch that ball on the flat. And so just, there's not a whole lot to this otherwise. I mean, I do think DJ was probably the primary read. But excellent job by Avery recognizing that he wasn't there, dumping it to Dylan in the flat and allowing Dylan to go make a play. I mean, there's no reason that this play should have went for 19 yards. That linebacker had all the leverage on this play. And Dylan does a great job of stuttering, making this defender freeze his feet, and then getting past him and getting up the sideline for a huge gain, which set us up for, I believe, a first and goal situation from the 10 where we ultimately settled with a field goal. But again, just another example of Dylan being able to make a play in a situation where it looked like maybe he was going to get stuffed for no yards, and understanding that his ability to make that play out of nothing is why he needs to be on the field more, and why I think it's compelling for he and DJ to be out there together.
That's what I'd like to see more is those two out on the field more. And I know the tight ends have been really effective out there, so you don't want to take too many of your tight ends off the field, but I'd just love to see a little bit more look of Dylan and DJ on the field together. Yeah. What was really impressive about that, Curry, is he didn't have a lot of field to work with. When he caught that ball, the boundary's right there. I mean,
got the ball at the boundary with a linebacker in a great position to make a play and shove him out of bounds. And the linebacker had the sideline to help him and still wasn't able to make a play. So again, just shows you what just simply getting the ball on Dylan Edwards in space can do. We're a great 12 personnel team, great 12, 13 personnel team. Wouldn't hate to see us, run some more, run some 21 personnel or even some 22 personnel, throw both those guys out there, or heck, run 11 or 12 personnel and have Dylan be one of your receivers and utilize him in different ways. I think you can get creative while still, playing to the strengths of your team.
Yep. All right. The last one here is, we had to include this one, Curry. Now, I know we don't typically do a ton of defensive plays, but this is the 4th and 7 play where K-State blitzes at the end of the game. BJ Payne ultimately ends up getting Jalen Daniels to the ground. And so you were in the south end zone view, and I was in the southwest corner. And from my vantage point, when Jalen Daniels broke contain, Curry, I thought he was getting the first down. Like, I was like, oh no. K-State closed so fast. It's not just BJ Payne. Toby Osunsami makes a huge play to get over there that had to slow him down just a hair to where BJ was able to catch up with him. But just love the effort from BJ too. Never gave up when Jalen Daniels gets away from him. We know BJ is one of the fastest players on the team, and they get him to the ground. But just what do you make of this effort and this play altogether?
Yeah, so I think, you're right. Just great effort, great execution by the defense here. So obviously at this point in the game, we know it's 4th down. There's about a minute left. We know that we've been bringing heavy pressures for the bulk of the last couple of drives for KU, and including BJ Payne safety blitzes. So you're getting. KU knows they're getting a man look. I will say, initially it's a little bit bizarre to me that they ran essentially a trips look to the when they're lined up on the left hash, they run a trips look to the left boundary. Giving their guys little space to work with. I mean, you can see that there's not a whole lot there to begin with, other than maybe the deep route to Lawrence Arnold or Quentin Skinner. I don't know which one of those guys that is. They look like, but the pressure from that weak side, from the boundary, takes them out of that right away because they flush into the field. So great blitz there. Austin Moore does a great job of occupying. I believe that's Devin Neal back there. Austin Moore does a great job of getting in his way, taking his attention, which allows BJ Payne to come free. I think in an ideal world, you see your safety who's streaking in as fast as he can go, break down and make that sack in the backfield. And then we don't all have to hold our breath for 3 or 4 more seconds. But excellent effort by BJ Payne after he misses him in the backfield to track him down before he even gets close to the sticks. You're right. I was actually at this point, on the sideline, and I was down on the north end of K-State's team sideline, team bench. And I also thought, oh no, he's getting to the first down marker. And then you look up and you're like, man, he got tackled, 8 yards short, barely got back to the line of scrimmage. So excellent effort by BJ. like you said, excellent effort by Toby Osunsami. Toby gets out there into the flat and I think puts a little more pressure on Jalen. I think at that point he's thinking, I might have to make a guy miss. It doesn't understand that he's got BJ Payne hawking him down from the backside. And you've even got Colby McAllister, who's the man safety, streaking in as well to potentially make a play at the first down marker. So excellent effort by the defense. Again, we talked about it in the outset, but just great play call by Joel Klanderman on that play, and great sequence of play calls by him late in that game, putting pressure on Jalen Daniels and taking them out of their play calls, right early on after the snap.
What really backfired on KU, to your point, is they had trips left. K-State had been blitzing them on the left side the entire time, and they only have one receiver on the KU sideline running a route, and K-State's got two guys over there.
You essentially got two guys. You got double coverage up to the top, and then you got again you're running three guys to the boundary in a trip set. I think it was Lawrence Arnold who did come open, but by that point, by the time he came open, it's Jalen Daniels is running for his life. So a little bit of a favorable play call for us from KU's perspective, but great play call by Joe Klanderman and excellent execution by Austin Moore, BJ Payne in particular.
Well, I'm sure when Joe Klanderman, the sideline, saw that look, they're probably licking their chops because they know they've been flushing him out to his right, and they've only got one receiver over there running a route with two guys over there to cover it, and K-State was able to flush him again, and just a really nice job by K-State getting contained there and Toby getting off his block. I mean, Toby was terrific in his pass rush situations. He's now got the highest pressure rate of any defensive end in the Big 12 per PFF, and then our guy Parker Eves, who shared that stat with us. In fact, K-State got more quarterback pressures, Curry, on KU than KU had allowed in any game this season. KU actually been.
How many pressures did we have?
So according to PFF, K-State had 23 total pressures. Now
there can be multiple on a play.
Yeah, there can be multiple on a play. So that is including everything. But 12.
It didn't feel like we had 23. We had a bunch late.
Yeah,
it didn't feel like.
Yeah, no, I know. And I think 12 separate plays there was pressure.
Okay.
So he had 31 drop back attempts. He was sacked once. He obviously took off and scrambled a few times for yards as well. But 12 different plays where they created pressure, but I mean, I would venture to guess that half those are on the final drive or two.
Final two
drives because they got the intentional grounding on Daniels as well. And one other key point was with around 6 minutes left in the game, KU ran a flea flicker on K-State, and we've seen K-State be susceptible to trick plays, and they stopped it, and Jalen Daniels took off and ran, but they get a hold called on him. Chidi Izer draws the hold. They end up in 2nd and 14 and end up having to punt because the intentional grounding happened later.
So. That's interesting. I mean, and there were times late in the game where, Brennan Mott or Cody Stufflebean got their arms on Daniels, and I thought he was going to go down, but he did a good job all night really evading any pressure that we were able to bring to him. I was impressed by KU's offensive line. I thought we were going to be able to put some pressure on him. But they did a nice job. Jalen did a nice job evading pressures when they were in his face. But I think Joe Klanderman has shown throughout this season that he's going to find a way to get to the quarterback. There have been games where we have generated an organic pass rush with 3 or 4 down linemen and not bringing any pressures. And there have been games like this one and in the the Tulane game early in this year where we have to design blitzes and different stunts to get guys after the quarterback. But Joe Klanderman is willing to do that. And I think another thing, and I may have mentioned this earlier, but shout out to our defensive backs for they're out there getting put on an island against a good receiver group, and they're doing a heck of a job. I mean, Justice James, I don't think played a ton early in that football game, but late in the stretch when we started playing a little bit of a dime look and bringing those pressures from different areas, he was thrust into the action. Jacob Parrish slid down into the slot corner position, and they did a really, really nice job against a good KU receiver group. So impressive work by them, because obviously man defense in a game that is built around offense is really, really difficult. And so was really impressed by those guys. They did what they had to do to help us secure that victory.
Well, I mean, let's be honest here. I mean, yeah, they made some mistakes at some points in the game, but there were some tight throws, some tight windows that Jalen Daniels absolutely drilled in there.
Shoulders. I mean, he was dialed in. I was impressed by him and thought he did everything he could to keep him in that football game, and obviously, help take him out of it when he fumbled late, but did a nice job. And our DBs, other than maybe getting toasted by Quentin Skinner earlier, I thought did a pretty solid job in the game on Saturday night.
Curry, real quick, we got to run. Any concerns about a letdown at Houston?
I don't think so. I think this is a football team that seems to not have really any issues with a letdown. I think we were worried about a letdown after the big Colorado game and some of the injuries that we suffered, and we're able to bounce back and beat them by almost 30. I don't think so. I think the bye week is positioned well enough that the coaches are going to be, they're going to be telling these guys, stay focused. Let's get through this week. This is a pretty good Houston football team. It's 1-2 of 3. They just beat Utah, preseason Big 12 favorite. Can't take them lightly. Let's get down there. Let's get a victory. Let's get home early on Saturday night for what feels like the first time all season. And then let's go enjoy this bye week and get healthy for the last 3-game stretch. I don't think so. I feel good about it. I think this is going to be, I think you're going to see a team that's eager and ready to play at a high level after sleeping in their own beds for the first full Saturday night in a long time on Saturday night. And so I don't think a letdown is something that I'm overly worried about.
I'd love to just get out of there with a win, and then I'm ready for the bye week myself.
Yeah,
I'm sure you are as well. Enjoy a couple weeks.
It's a brutal stretch, man. I mean, it's only been 3 games. I mean, you think about it, it's only been 3 games, but no, going into the season, I don't think anybody thought that Colorado was going to be as good as they are. We knew they'd have good talent, but we didn't expect them to be a really good football team. And so I think that win keeps getting better and better. But that win took a lot out of us. And then you go to West Virginia and play a physical, tough football team that is 3-2 in the Big 12 now. Ranked in the top half of the Big 12, ranked in the top 5 or 6 in the Big 12. And so you didn't understand that you were going to, that you thought, okay, we're going to go out, not a crazy difficult road test, 2-game road trip, and come back home against a really good KU football team. And instead, it was a really difficult road trip. And then you come back home against a KU football team that is still probably as good as any in the Big 12 as far as talent goes. But it's not just found a way not to win games down the stretch in 6 games now. And you've got them coming off their first Big 12 win of the season and coming in with a lot of confidence and a chip on their shoulder. That this road trip is turning out to be a really, really daunting one. And so looking forward to getting through it. I know the coaches and players are as well. They need a break way worse than we do. So hopefully go down there, get out of there by 6 o'clock on Saturday night. The guys can be home by 8 o'clock and may even be able to enjoy a night out on the town as they head into a bye week.
Yeah, it would be well deserved. Get out of there with a win. Get to 8-1 on the year and 5-1 in league play. Well, Curry, I got to run, but appreciate your time as always, folks. Get on over to catsnil.com. Check out the membership tier program. We'll talk more NIL on the next show after the Houston game as we get teed up for the stretch run of the season. But again, catsnil.com. Check out all the work that Curry and team do over there. It's outstanding. And sign up for one of the membership tiers as well and find a way to support the Cats or support one of the many businesses you'll find over at catsnil.com that are supporting K-State. Opportunities to support them there as well. Also, go support our partners over at Holiday Distillery. Pick up some Ben Holiday bottled and bond bourbon. Home Field Apparel, discount code 3MAW24 when you check out, as well as our people over at Elanco, tremendous K-Staters for your home improvement needs, owned and operated since 1986. Also, Riverbank Brewing in Council Grove. Go check them out. They were at the Wildcat NIL tailgate on Saturday.
Yeah, I don't know how many beers they sold, but they were churning out beers like crazy.
I bet.
I don't know how we had by far our biggest tailgate crowd. I mean, at one point, from the inside the tent, outside the tent, was shoulder to shoulder. There had to be a few hundred people in there at one point. And Jesse and Deidre were just in the back, just popping tops for a solid 2 hours. So I think Riverbank's going to come back for one of the last 2 home games and help us out again. And so support Riverbank Brewing and come out and support them at our tailgate before the Cincy or Arizona State game.
Well, look at that. We're going to have Holiday for one, maybe, Riverbank for the other.
And we're going to find a way to make them both happen. So.
And I'll be back over at the Wildcat. Not that this is a selling point for you, but I'll be back over at the Wildcat NIL tailgate the rest of the season now for these last 2 home games as well. And some of my friends will be over there as well. So cannot wait to get back on over there as well. So appreciate our friends over at Holiday Distillery for an awesome tailgate and Riverbank for an awesome tailgate at Wildcat NIL. And go support those businesses that are finding ways to support the Cats. For Curry Sexton and Nick Springer behind the scenes producing the show, I'm Cole Manbeck. Thanks for listening to another episode of 3 Mall.